Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. Going to have a look at the weather the next 10 to 14 days for today's video. Day 10 will take us to the 16th of October, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extend GFS and ECM ensembles, may run to around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video. For the next 4 weeks, that's going to take us to the start of November. I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just say that the first video release today was our 7 AM forecast. We've also released the USA forecast. It was on a Wednesday. And tonight at 7 PM, we've got a little sneak peek for Christmas coming up. So, yeah, Christmas updates, you know, regular Christmas countdown updates will begin on the first day of November, as always. But in October, we like to do a couple of little sneak peek videos, and we've got the first one of those coming up for you around 7 PM this evening. So it'll be an interesting watch, I can tell you about. It's already recorded and uploaded and scheduled on the channel. So make sure you're around at 7 PM and you'll be able to see a little bit of data for Christmas. Can you believe that? Please like, share, subscribe on all obvious. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely Wednesday. Right, so going to begin by having a look at sampling temperature. So the CT is currently standing at 11.8 degrees. That's around half a degree below average. Only provisional to yesterday, to the 5th of October. Now, that's going to tick down probably a little bit for today, but then later on in the week, that's going to start rising because it's going to start getting quite warm over the end of the week and into the weekend. So I suspect that's going to get up into the 12s over the next few days. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. So red line is 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We're seeing at the moment we're a little bit below average with the upper air temperature, but they are on the rise. So over the next few days, it's going to get warmer at the end of the week and into the weekend. Then early next week, it looks like we're going to drop in the upper air temperatures coming through. Still within high pressure. So high pressure is going to build in. Initially, it's going to be a warm ridge. And then next week, early next week, the high pressure will sort of move to our west. That will allow cooler air to sort of envelop the high pressure, and so the ridge will cool down. Still mainly dry. You notice with precipitation, there's barely any rainfall spikes at all over the next week, and even in the extended range, there's only a few. So it looks like we're in for a prolonged dry period once again. But after initially being quite warm, temperatures cool down. Into the second half of October, we might see a bit of a warming trend appearing once again with this area of high pressure, or maybe as a ridge is being broken down and lower pressure is coming in from off the Atlantic Ocean. That's an extended range, though. And so it's in the unreliable time frame of GFS and its ensembles. Temperature anomalies on the 6th to the 14th of October are going to be above average, a warmer than average week coming up. And precipitation anomalies from the 6th to 14th of October are going to be drier than average, particularly so for England and Wales. The latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that low pressure is moving away. The low pressure gave all wet weather yesterday. That's pushing off into the southern North Sea and the Low Countries, and a ridge is beginning to build through the country. That ridge is going to strengthen over the next few days. So this is how the UK Met Euro is looking for Saturday. High pressure dominates over and to the east of the country, bringing the wind from off-continent. It'll be quite a warm wind, but you have got to watch out some mist and fog patches over the weekend. That will have a cooling effect on the temperature. Next week, the high pressure begins to drift out to our west. We start to bring some cooler air in from the northwest into that area of high pressure. That's Tuesday, so the high pressure centred over Ireland then. And particularly for northern east parts of the country, cooler air is digging quite a cold plunge into Scandinavia. Then the high pressure comes back in, sitting over the country. So you see, up to middle of next week, this is as far as we go with the UK Met Wednesday, up to middle of next week, high pressure is dominating the weather. It's going to be mostly dry. Just temperatures will get cooler through the early part of next week. This is how the midnight GFS run is looking again. High pressure sits over and to the east of the country, mainly dry and pretty warm into the weekend. Mainly dry to the early part of next week, but the difference if a change in wind directions, high pressure just drifts slightly to our west. We start to bring in cooler air from the north, maybe even colder. You see the 0 Celsius ice firm is pushing through that area of high pressure. It's probably enough to produce at very least ground frost in northern parts of the country. High pressure remains in control of weather though throughout next week. The high pressure sitting over the top of the country. Again, we're going to watch out for mist and fog patches developing night and morning with this area of high pressure, particularly as the as the temperature gets a bit cooler, will create more in way of moisture within the atmosphere And so, yeah, we might get some fog next week. But otherwise, high pressure dominates right the way up to day 10 on the GFS midnight run. A prolonged dry spell setting up, such as we had in September. The only difference is that because we're later on in the year, it won't be as warm. All the way through to the extended range, this area of high pressure continues to be ruling the ridge. It's not until the very end of the GFS midnight run when it looks like the ridge is breaking and weakening. We've got low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic, also another low pushing into Scandinavia. So we're going to try and get wind into the north there, but this low down here to the west-southwest of the UK and Ireland, that could act as a buffer and just bring mild air and wet weather in off the Atlantic. Notice heights are rising though over Greenland. So at the very end of the GFS midnight run, which gets us to the 22nd of October, we are poised there and could go really in any direction. Probably would be more unsettled. The 6Z looks like this. Again, high pressure is dominating the weather on Saturday. That high pressure carries on being in control of weather into the early part of next week. The difference is changing wind direction, bringing cooler air into the high pressure from the north as the ridge starts to drift out to our west. Again, you see the upper air temperatures lowering with the 0 Celsius ice firm pushing right way through the country, particularly northern and eastern areas. High pressure in control throughout next week, so mostly dry next week. A dry week coming up all the way up towards day 10. Probably a gradual recovery in the temperature as well, although once more we have to watch out for mist and fog patches that might limit the temperature potential somewhat. In our extended range, the high pressure fest goes on until the very end of the GFS run when we start to break down the ridge and low pressure begins to push in from off the Atlantic Ocean. There it comes on the 19th of October and then pushes right way through the country by the 22nd. Looks like we're going into quite a cold northerly via some Greenland blocking up to 1,050 millibars with the Greenland high there on the GFS 6Z right at the very end. GM looks like this. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, make sure you sub to the channel. Thank you so much for doing that, and drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. GM looks like this. So once more, high pressure is in control of the weather on Saturday, as it is on Sunday. High pressure does change its position early next week, though, to pull cooler air in from the north. So initially a warm ridge over the weekend, and then temperatures lower into the early part of next week. But still, high pressure dominates throughout the early part of next week anyway. Up to the second half of next week, though, or into the second half of next week, low pressure then for GM moves in off the Atlanta, pulls in what could be quite a cold northerly wind eventually, and is a lot more unsettled by around days 8, 9, and 10 without breaks of rain, and eventually bringing in the -5 Celsius ice flow to Scotland from the north. GFS and, GFS, and you see it in a moment, ECM, not as unsettled as that, though, around days 9 and 10. This is the ECM. High pressure dominates on Saturday, and it's still there dominating on Sunday, and into part of next week as well, but we do pull some cooler air in from the north, so it will become a cooler ridge through the early part of next week. But still, the high pressure is in control right way up to day 10. No change, really. High pressure remains well and truly centred over the country. This will be precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from meteo.com. A lot of dry weather to come, but some showy rain, particularly for more northern areas over the weekend into next week. But basically, high pressure is in control, means that any weather fronts that try to come into high pressure are sort of killed off and weakened. So there's not that much rain going on over the next week to 10 days, particularly for more southern areas where it does look especially dry. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which will get us to the 16th of October. 29 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure to our west and low pressure to our east. Mainly dry, but we will be putting cooler air into that high pressure from the north. They have 22, including the control and the operational run, with high pressure more or less over the top of the coach. It's going to be mostly dry. Again, probably bringing in some cooler air from the northeast with a lot of those options. It depends on the exact placement of the area of high pressure. But I reckon this is probably going to turn into a cool ridge through the course of next week. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It gets to the 21st of October. 15 members of the ECM ensembles keep high pressure dominating over top of the country. It can be mostly dry and fine. 14 see the high pressure begin to weaken and slip away to the south, probably bringing in more of a westerly flow with those starting to turn a bit more unsettled. 9 look probably unsettled with low pressure over top of the UK and high pressure going up towards Greenland as well, so that is cool and unsettled with that. 7 with a mid-Atlantic ridge heading up towards Greenland. And a deep trough low pressure to our northeast. Winds are in from the north with that, so that's going to be cold and unsettled. And then we've got 6 here with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. That's going to be more unsettled, but will be relatively mild with winds in from a westerly direction. Finally, the CFS V2, so it's a range of options in 2 weeks' time. What's happening with this ridge, range of options. Finally, CFS V2, 500 millibar heights bring down to the week period. So the first week period takes from the 6th to 12th of October. Coming week is dominated by high pressure, but we will eventually start to pull some cooler air in from the north and northeast into that area of high pressure. Week 2 is the 13th to the 19th of October with the high pressure right over top of the country then, so mainly dry and fine weather continuing. Week 3 is the 20th, 26th of October. Again, high pressure is over UK and across western parts of Europe as well. Mostly dry with that, and starting to get a little bit warmer with that as well, probably bring that wind more of a southwesterly direction. And then week 4 is going to be 27th of October, 2nd of November. The high pressure domination just goes on across the west of Europe, mainly dry and fine there. Winter digging in across the east northeast of Europe with this trough of low pressure, but we'll probably still bring up relatively warm winds from the southwest up to that point. So it looks like we're in for a lot more high pressure through this October, in line with GavsWeatherVids autumn forecast, which I don't think is panning out too badly at the moment. Let me know in the comments what you think. Right, okay, so that's it for today's 10 to 14 day. Please like, share, subscribe on video. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. If you give us a sub, you'll be able to see future web content. And don't forget to tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. We are trying to get ourselves to 13,000 subscribers. Incredible and amazing. Drop a comment also. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Right, that's it for 10 to 14 day, but not it for today's video. Just as I said at the start of this one, at 7 PM, we have got our personal sneak peek for Christmas coming up. So come back to the channel at 7, and you're going to see a little bit of long-range data for Christmas 2022. It'll be a very interesting watch. And, yeah, make sure you're around the channel this evening for that. Tomorrow, I've got 7 AM forecast. We've also got European Outlook, as on a Thursday, along with 10 to 14 day as well. So, plenty going on tomorrow. But, of course, Christmas sneak peek tonight at 7 PM. For this video, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.